when he hacks into the box or whatever, and then it's like his family there, and he says something like, "I'm not broken," because she calls him his broken man. I thought that was a good moment. Now, was all that family stuff in the original? Because to me, even really.
No.
I'm telling you. I feel like I have to watch the theatrical, even just for that.
It's like a different movie. It's crazy.
With your best friends Trey, Sterling, and Matt, the Film Schmucks.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Film Schmucks here. You got me, Matt Pulaski, over here. Some people call me Pabloobski. We got Trey, the Cray Trey Johnson. I say it different every time. You decide. And then we got, of course, Sterling, Stir Fry Reigns at the bottom. Thanks for all the new. We got some more subscribers. We hit our goal. We wanted to hit 20 by the end of the month, and holy smokes, we're at 22 right now, and it's the 20th. Yeah. So I think we can actually hit 25 or more by the end of the month. So if you like it, if you enjoy it, you like people talking movies and reviews and all that stuff, then tell a friend, get them involved. But thanks everyone for the comments. Nostalgia is real. We did see your comments. They're even more hurtful every week. So keep them up. No, shout out to Nostalgia, our first subscriber. So I guess we can just get right on into it. We watched the Snyder cut of Justice League. And should I just get into it? Should I just start?
Yeah, just jump in.
I'm actually curious what you think, Matt, because you never saw the theatrical cut.
I have a lot to say that I think I'll say the overview, but I have one thing to say right off the bat. Not 1.5 hours. Not 2 hours. It's a longer movie. Not 3 hours. Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut. You motherfuckers did not tell me when we picked this movie that it was 4 hours long. I'm not rounding up. It's 4,000 hours long. Woo! I did not expect that. So anyway, it's a long movie. That being said, my overall opinion of it, I didn't, and I should also make this clear to anyone watching, I didn't watch the original. I still haven't seen the, as they call it, the Justice League, which is that's what the fans call it, I guess. But I have not seen.
Don't even bother.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I at the time I saw Batman v Superman, which I liked, but was also a little disappointed in the direction that the universe seemed to be going. So I was like, I kind of hadn't really watched one since then. I also haven't seen Aquaman, although it didn't seem super important that I hadn't in this movie. There's a couple of things where I was like, maybe I would have known who Willem Dafoe was or something. But anyway.
It's after this.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Good. Great. So anyway, didn't see Aquaman, didn't see Justice League. So my frame of reference for this universe is literally Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I watched this movie in two parts. So I watched the first 2 hours, and then at chapter 5, I stopped. And last night I watched the last 2 hours. The second half of the movie, to me, and maybe maybe it was the mood I was in both times or something, but the second half of the movie to me was way better than the first half. I guess I should just say this. I'll keep it general. Didn't know what to expect from the movie. I thought I might hate it, or it might be too cheesy or something like that. I enjoyed it for the most part. I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good. And there were even some moments, like I'd say a good handful of moments that I thought were really cool, and that I actually thought like, oh, this is actually really cool, and the music is really dope, and like there was some just really I think Snyder's just really good at especially using music, and he can just make these really dramatic moments, and so I would get sucked in on some of these moments, and to me that was the high point of the movie was maybe overall as an arc, there was some confusing stuff. I'm sure I can ask you guys about some of this stuff, but I was a little confused at certain points. I thought there was a little bit too much there was like some parts where I'm like, do we need the Lord of the Rings style scenic shots for 20 minutes and stuff like that? I was like, I don't think this movie needed to be 4 hours, even this extended cut. I'll say that. There were some really slow moving parts that I didn't even understand why I needed to watch it. But the heights of the movie, when it would hit those like, this is the Justice League kicking ass, or like, you're seeing the Flash do something cool, or Batman is having, making a dramatic speech or whatever it is. There were some moments that I did get that classic swelling feeling where I was like, oh, okay, this is really kind of powerful what I'm seeing. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I really do. And I'll go real quick. This movie is by far superior in every facet you can think of to the Josh Whedon version. Like, let's forget about him. Throw him away. Like, Snyder, you please. I hope this blows up. I hope this puts a little spark in the WB executive office to say, get their heads out of their butts and pushes us forward this direction, because this movie kicked some ass. You're right. It was a little slower in the beginning, and I saw some comparison videos about some scenes, how he basically with the Wonder Woman scene where it was almost twice as long, and dramatic effects, slow motion, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a lot of nitpicks, some character ones, but overall, I thought this movie was great, even though I have a lot of nitpicks. And it was very, very good. And I'll just leave it at that because we'll jump in. So, Sterling.
Yeah, so I kind of have two opinions. The first opinion is that, just like Trey said, this is a night and day difference between the 2017 version and this version. Particularly one character in this movie that so many scenes were cut out from the theatrical cut. And after seeing this version, I can't believe they cut out so many scenes with him, but we'll get into it. The second opinion is that as a standalone movie, I actually think this is probably, out of the 3 Zack Snyder films in the DC universe, I think it's probably just below Man of Steel. I still have Man of Steel kind of edging it out, but it's pretty close. I definitely think it's better than Batman v Superman. But yeah, I think it's a really, really good movie, with some flaws. But I think it's definitely an achievement, and I'm really glad that Zack Snyder's vision was brought to fruition, for sure.
I think a good place to start, because I'm so curious, having not watched the original version. Do you guys want to get into what the big differences are, even just from a viewer standpoint of watching the movie? Because I'm curious.
Go ahead, ask away.
Well,
I don't even know what to ask, because I have no idea. I don't know. I know this movie's way longer, but I don't even know.
Go, Sterling.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, to me, the thing that jumps out immediately is the character of Cyborg. There's just so many scenes with him that were cut out of the original cut that, to me, he was the heart of the movie. His story arc. I just found him really endearing in the movie, and I can understand why the actor might be I can understand why he's kind of upset at Joss Whedon a little bit, because there's been stories that he was upset of all the scenes that were cut out. Mm-hmm. And so to me, that's the biggest difference. There was none of the flashback scenes. Even his dad was much better in this movie than the theatrical cut. His dad didn't do anything in the original cut.
Did he do the superheat the cube thing?
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
That's that's a big part. I mean, that seemed very significant, actually.
Yeah.
Because at first I was actually a
all.
little upset whenever I thought he was going to try to destroy it, and I'm like, you stupid son of a... And then he gets evaporated or whatever, which was pretty cool effects, actually. His eyes and his face is melting. Pretty cool. But then I was like, well, that's sad when someone just kills himself for no reason. And it's he wasn't trying to destroy it. He was superheating it. And I was like, Daddy Cyborg.
Yeah, he's marking. He's marking it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Go ahead, Trey.
No, if you have more to the differences, because I do a big negative that I could jump into that goes along with.
Well, can I ask about Cyborg, just out of curiosity? I liked Cyborg in this movie because I do think he had an interesting little arc. And I would say one of the moments in the movie that maybe it could be cheesy or whatever, but one of the moments that I actually I gotta say, I kind of was like, okay, cool. Like I had a good, that was a good moment with the character was when he's when he has like I said, maybe a little cheesy, but when he says, what does he say? When he hacks into the box or whatever, and then it's like his family there, and he says something like, I'm not broken, because she calls him his broken man. I thought that was a good moment. Now, was all that family stuff in the original? Because to me, even...
No.
Really?
No.
Nope.
No.
I'm telling you.
I feel like I have to watch the theatrical, even just for that.
It's like a different movie. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, that moment was really good because it kind of gave me a little bit of some Teen Titans vibes, because
that's
there's a couple episodes that I can remember where he goes into his past in the cartoon, and he kind of comes to the same kind of conclusion that he's not actually broken. Like, he's actually, even with the cybernetics inside of him, he's still the same Victor Stone. And so I thought that was really cool. I thought the scene, and it kind of got me emotional, was when he listens to his dad's recording, and his dad tells him all he can do, and then he uses that unbelievable power to help a family get enough money to not be evicted, that $100,000.
That was cool. Yeah, that was really cool.
That was really touching. So, and that wasn't in the original cut.
There's a couple cyborg things that I want to nitpick, but we'll save it for later.
I mean,
I guess.
So you want to save cyborg for later?
Let's just let it free flow, okay? Unless Trey, do you have something anything? You look like you had a big neggy to talk about. That.
Oh yeah, it's huge. I'm about to turn heel.
Woo!
I think you said the cartoon cyborg. Don't put that evil on the Teen Titans cartoon show. This cyborg is so lame. I was so underwhelmed. So underwhelmed. Every time he's probably a good actor, but he's acting. He's a cyborg. He's half, whatever. I just didn't buy the character. I didn't buy the hatred towards the dad. Cool, he wasn't around. Whatever. Boo! Cry me a river, but you can't because you're a robot. But anyway, I thought he was by far the weakest character, tied with none other than the Flash. My God, we'll talk about him later because there's two scenes in particular that were horrendously cheesy that I absolutely hated, and I like this movie a lot. And but going back to Cyborg, there was another character that they put in here, which I wanted. Once he arrived, I was like, yes, he's going to come in for the big battle, which he didn't. He came out at the epilogue. He was in only 2 scenes. Martian Manhunter, one of the most underrated characters. If you ever watched the cartoon shows, he's amazing. Yeah. I got so excited. This is what I was going to tell you earlier, Matt. I just got done eating all this food from Cheesecake Factory. I just got done eating my nice Reese's cheesecake. And I'm laying down watching this movie, and my eyes are closing down, and they're having a little sweet talk with Amy Adams and with Clark Kent's mom, and I'm about to fall asleep, literally, not because the movie's boring. It's 12:30 a.m. It's late. And he closes the door. His eyes turn red. I kind of open my eyes a little more, and then he transforms. I literally jumped out of my seat.
Yeah.
So excited, cheering in my brain. I was so happy. And then we didn't see him in the battle. So that's one of the biggest disappointments, is not seeing Martian Manhunter. Because if this was a one-shot, why didn't he just go all out and put Martian Manhunter to come in to help out? So I was disappointed in that. But I agree with that. I think Cyborg stay with Teen Titans, come in to help, whatever. I think he's replaceable. He's like Bruce Wayne and Tony, whatever, Iron Man combined. That's what he is. Is just like a poor man's Iron Man. So that's just, like I said, I'm turning heel. I don't like the character in the movie. I think he's lame. I think they tried too hard to make it a little sentimental, boo-hoo, cry me a river, So I think he was the lamest character, tied with Flash, and I want a Martian Manhunter. He's the man. That's why he's called Martian Manhunter. That guy's a boy. Cyborg is a boy in a man's world, just like Flash. They're little boys in the man's world. And you know what? The Flash is tripping on little cracks in the sidewalk. It's just pathetic. So
When did he
anyway,
trip on a crack in the sidewalk?
it's like 2 or 3 times in the movie. Were you not watching?
When did he ever trip on a crack?
He did. He almost broke his ankle at the end.
Oh,
in one of the final
okay,
battles.
I forgot. I do remember that. Yeah. He tripped.
He got
Anyway.
shot at the end.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Most of the time he stopped, he got shot or something.
Well, there's one time where they show
No,
a
I
zoom
know.
in of his ankle
He is
catching
talking
on
about
her.
it. I
Yeah.
thought that he break his ankle. It was when they were fighting in the mine, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, it was early. Yeah, he tripped twice in the movie, but that's the one I think of. But anyway, come at me, bro. I'll fight you, man.
I'll say this.
You go at it.
I'll say this. Nostalgia is real is gonna hate me for this, but but I totally disagree on the try too hard to be sentimental or get him out of there. I thought his character was actually, to me, was a central part of this movie. I do agree, however, sorry, Nostalgia. I do agree, however, with Trey, that the character didn't have a lot of personality.
Bye.
He didn't have a lot of
You keep going.
personality. It is true. Like he didn't have. There wasn't much of a character to him, as far as leads me to my problem with Flash. I actually thought Flash had really cool moments in the movie, but he was the opposite. They were trying too hard to make him the comic relief, and it was like he couldn't just every single line he said.
It's worse.
Was trying to be funny. Every single
worse
line.
than the original
Exactly.
cut.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, it's worse
Oh,
than
yeah.
the original cut. So,
Well,
I wanted to like him, by
don't
the
know.
way. I did.
Well,
this is pretty bad.
I wanted to like him, and but here's the thing: if he just did some of that humor a little bit here and there, it'd be fine. But to me, it was like too much, too often.
This is way more than the original. Like they pushed it a lot, and it didn't really work. There's like one line I think that worked, but yeah, I know Sterling wants to say something, but I have to say this because we were talking about Flash. Are you going to talk about Flash?
well, I cut out for about 20 seconds, so I don't know if I.
Well, we know
it's
why.
important.
We just talked about how lame the Flash is and how they tried too hard with him.
I just said that Cyborg, I think, is missing a personality in the movie, but I also think that the thing with his character and his family and stuff seemed kind of a central part of the movie. So,
Yeah.
which is
I mean, I sort of agree with that, but I completely disagree with Trey on everything he said about Cyborg. But anyway, continue.
But you just agreed with something that he agreed with me on. Oh my
Hey,
God!
I
What
said I
else, Sterling?
sort of.
You live in your own world, Sterling. That's okay. We'll talk about the Flash now. That scene, I know you're gonna get mad. Hold your thought. The Flash, when it's all slow motion and he's grabbing a hot dog. I was like thinking, are they gonna bring out some honey, mustard and ketchup? What is he doing? And he puts it in his pocket.
that
And
was weird. Why did he put it
that
in his
was what-
pocket?
he fed it to the dogs later. It was so stupid. One of the
Oh,
ones that
right.
was forced, which is the worst joke than any joke he made in the original.
It gives them
Let's not even go
worms.
there.
First of all, can we just say that
Yeah,
dogs
it gives
get
them
worms
worms.
when they eat hot dogs? So Flash is kind of
Yeah.
a villain, maybe even the central villain
Yeah.
of the movie. If you think about it. And-
Yes.
all right, just kidding.
But
I'm glad you
okay.
brought the scene up though, because I have some thoughts on it.
Okay, so this is an overall thought with Flash. So I don't like that scene. I thought it was horrible. Why is he shooting light? Like, why is there lightning and why is he running so weird? I don't get the lightning that's so predominant, and I think it's horrible. And I think him like ooh, I think it's dumb. If it was the actor doing that, Ezra Miller's career's over anyway. And if it was the director, bad, real bad. So I think the lightning's dumb and the way he runs is dumb. No thoughts? Okay, let's move on. All right, boys.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, it is a little bit different style as far as the lightning, because usually it's kind of a yellow kind of lightning that is associated with the Flash.
This
but-
is blue, yeah.
Yeah,
White
so
blue.
I think I mean, maybe his running, yeah, I mean, it's a little weird to me too, but I'll just say this about Flash. I think I think out of all the characters, he probably is like the weakest. But I'm not gonna go as far as to say that I think he was bad. Like to me, there were a couple times I did chuckle at some of his moments. And I think his arc, especially in this movie compared to the original cut, his arc was a lot better. And I actually did like his scenes with his father. I thought those were pretty good. And I think, and we'll talk about it more later, but I really did like his big moment near the end when he goes back in time to save everyone. I thought that was
I did
the
too.
way the music swelled in that moment was I got chills with that scene.
Yeah, me too.
So
I thought that whole thing.
I couldn't
was
believe that
really cool.
they basically teased his movie, which thank God it's not going to be really about him. It's a multiverse movie, thank goodness. But yeah, that was a pretty good scene.
Yeah, that was cool. The hot dog scene, him saving the girl.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a little weird.
That was a little
sure.
weird. I have to say, gonna throw it out there now. Snyder, if I'm being frank, has a history of just putting like pop culture songs in scenes in movies, and sometimes it works and it's really cool, and sometimes it doesn't. I thought that the scene with Flash, I can't even remember the song that played, but I thought it was almost. I know that it was supposed to be sort of. It wasn't like it was supposed to be super serious, but it was still a little like weird, where you're like, something's weird here. Like it was noticeably weird that it just plays that song.
It takes you out of the movie.
It reminded
bit,
me
sure.
a little bit of Watchmen when it starts playing Hallelujah when they're banging on the spaceship. That's what it reminded me of. I don't know why. And but now let me say this, because you guys might disagree with me. There was another scene that was very similar to that in the movie, which was Aquaman. As far as the music, Aquaman was walking in slow motion on the docks, drinking whiskey, and some dramatic track was playing. I thought it worked really well there. I was like, this looks cool. The cinematography's cool.
Yeah.
The whiskey drinking is badass. It looked cool there.
I think so too. I think
It's
it was
hit
kind
and
of hit
miss
or
with
miss.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Flash scene didn't work. The Aquaman scene did work. I think for the most part the score was really good in this movie, but I do think there was that music. I don't know how to explain it, but it was whenever they showed the Amazons or Wonder Woman, there was that music beat that was played that sounded like some kind of choir or something.
Yeah, it was like lamentation music or whatever.
Yeah, which initially, okay, it was pretty
Fine.
cool, but I think
Yeah, I agree.
I think they overplayed it just a little too much.
I think there was so much Amazonian shit at the beginning of the movie, I was getting a little bored, and I even wrote down, this is the first note I wrote, possibly slowest start to any movie. And I don't even remember very well now, so forgive me, because this was 2 nights ago. I just remember there being a lot of Amazons doing stuff and build up and stuff that seemed a little bit like, look, you can explain the boxes, the mother boxes or whatever. It's a weird name, but you can explain those. You can show the Amazons have one and this have one. I get the humans had one too. I kind of like that lore part of it a little bit, but I think that that first hour of the movie was a little lengthy and a little unnecessarily lengthy as far as stuff. Like there's just some scenes were so slow and they just seemed like they didn't need to be there.
I agree with you at some points for sure. But kind of looking back on it, I think a lot of those like build up kind of slow burn moments, I think for the most part worked, especially what it was building up to. I think, I don't know, especially like when the team is coming together, like especially compared to the original cut, the build up was so much better, and it felt much more earned in this cut. The fact that they were coming together as a team, it just felt more earned overall. So yeah, that's what I would have to say.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of, I know we'd have to do this at some point with this, but the Avengers, was a great model of this person has a movie. We understand their backstory. this person has a movie, we understand their backstory, and there's little details here and there so that when Avengers comes out, we have all the information we need. You can get straight into the story. And I feel like
I agree.
I think that's always been the up with this DC universe is they did Man of Steel and then they just go straight into Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman's problem was there was so much exposition. That should have been stuff that was happening in other movies, in a Batman movie, in a Flash movie, in a Cyborg movie. And this movie, Justice League, also seems to suffer a little. It's still paying the consequences of not having some movies beforehand. Because I do feel like there was a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, we're seeing some backstory to Barry, we're seeing some Cyborg stuff. Maybe those were things that could have happened in some other movies first, and then we would have known what was going on already.
I disagree with that. With this movie in particular, I mean, obviously with the original, the 2017 Justice League, it kind of got hurt, but they didn't do a well enough job with the Cyborg character. To you guys, yes, but to me, no. More so than Flash, and didn't do a good enough job with Flash in the movie to even be worth having like a backstory for them. I think they should have focused on having. The focus on the three of them, and I like that there was more Steppenwolf, which is awesome, and his design was 10 times, even 100 times better than 2017. But
design was because
it's horrible. Yeah, I just saw a couple videos, but no, you're right though that Batman vs Superman should have been 2 movies by anyway. I don't care that they jumped into it. That's where I kind of disagree because they're the 2 biggest heroes in all of comic books in everywhere. So most popular, whatever. There's a big difference, isn't there?
Yeah, he looks like a World of Warcraft character in the original.
Yeah, I know, right? But so I don't mind that they jumped in. They just rushed it with especially the theatrical, and it was such a big. It's supposed to be Batman v Superman. They're going off the Dark Knight Returns. It should have been 2 movies. It was big enough. They both could have been billion-dollar hits. And I think that was where I think with WB at the time, we're like, hey, we need this out. We need this. We don't want you to spend that much money on 2 films. So a lot of pressure from the higher ups, which from our perspective rarely happens with Marvel, which is a significant reason why they're so successful because, and with Star Wars and DC, why they're, the higher ups trying to put their hands in the cookie jar with their directors and everything. And with Marvel, it's one guy and he's having a creative creative process with his people. And here, I think with Zack Snyder, he did such a good job with Man of Steel. The executives probably said they didn't make enough money. We want to do this. I wish that they would learn, like you said, learn that you got to build a universe like Marvel, but should have learned, hey, we need to trust this person. We need to let him do his thing, and we got to trust that process. And they didn't with BVS, but Wonder Woman worked out. I'm not sure there weren't many stories of any like creative, tubing chiefs in the kitchen, whatever, but especially with Batman v Superman and then Justice League with Josh coming in to change 70% of the film. But I'm not sure where I was going with it. I just think that BVS could have been way better if it was 2 films. Yeah. They could have built up, like you said. The 2 films could have done what you wanted. They could have built the characters up in the first one, and then they could have had the battle they had at the end of the first one, and the second one could have them coming together, the aftermath for the first part, but. Yeah, he didn't do it. That's his history. This was, to me, as much as I have a lot of nitpicks. Yeah, sorry, Shirley. I thought this was great. I think I have to watch it again, but just the experience, even though I was in my living room with a tiny TV, I think overall because it's 4 years later from Justice League, we've had time digesting the characters. Aquaman came out, the second Wonder Woman came out. So I wasn't as troubled like you maybe were. Like these characters weren't developed, but I just think that it really, looking right now on the outside looking in, not seeing Man of Steel for a while, I think this was better, like an overall better experience in Man of Steel because we said, like Sterling said, and everybody knows, we got his vision, we got Snyder's vision, and I appreciated it. Yeah, so.
Going off of that, Trey, despite what they could have done, what they should have done, like just
Mhm.
taking the three movies that he did as a whole, I think it's a solid vision, and it's very, especially watching this cut of his of Justice League. I think the especially, I mean, again, compared to the 2017 version, this is a well-rounded vision with this
Mhm.
4-hour cut. So
I think
Yeah.
so. By the way, I actually think, despite like I was saying, there's a lot of exposition in both movies, but like a lot of like backstory and stuff. But despite that, it's like, hey, okay, like Lord of the Rings has a lot of backstory, right? And those movies are 3 hours
Mhm.
and all of that, you know.
yeah,
So sometimes that's fine, especially if it's a long movie. Sometimes that's part of the movie is the build up. And I do think the
Yeah.
slower start made the second part of the movie better. So I think what I was trying to say, just to touch one more thing on it, was that like in Avengers, for instance, by the time you watch Infinity War, you already know what all the stones are. You know that Thanos is looking for them. To me, it'd be a little bit like if you had Avengers Infinity War and there's an hour of the movie that's explaining what the gemstones are and what they do. That's what I mean. There was a lot of the movie that's like, these are the mother boxes. They're buried here and here. And I don't remember a lot of, well, anyway, we can move on from it. But,
yeah.
because like I said, overall, it was still fine. There was a lot of explaining at the beginning of the movie. That's fine. That's part of the movie. I can accept it.
Yeah. Kind of. Well, before we get more into like the story beats, I just wanted to touch on a little bit about just kind of the unique circumstances behind all this. Like, this is like the first time, and I'm sure it's going to happen probably with other projects, but the fact that this isn't like a 20-year-old movie. This is a movie that came out 3 years ago, and
Yeah.
the full director's cut is coming on a streaming service. Like, I don't know. To me, there's a little. It is kind of an achievement in itself, in
It's
its own
very
right,
cool.
and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I just want to jump in. Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
Well,
go
I
ahead,
was
man.
just gonna
Sorry.
say, we were talking about those big wigs upstairs. I don't know if it's a bunch of monkeys with typewriters up there or what. They don't know what they're doing. But this was a good move. This was a really good move and a good thing to do.
But this wasn't WB. It was AT&T who are smart enough to realize what they need to push HBO Max. I mean, I don't want to jump into the streamings, whatever, but it was 18. It was WB that want to do it. They have their heads so far up their
Ah,
a-holes that they were like, whatever. They couldn't do anything about it because AT&T owns Warner Media. So I'm so happy that looking at like, well, I wish this company bought Fox. I wish people wish so many things. Now the dust has settled. So happy AT&T instead of Comcast got a hold. I know Comcast was in on both Fox and this, but who knows that this would never have happened if another company would have merged or bought Warner Media, because
Yeah,
they were like, hey, we got the money. We need to push HBO Max. We don't care about you, whatever. What is it? I don't know his name. The guy that took over for DC, WB. I'm so
yeah,
happy we're the big chief. We are the boss. You guys, they're like, okay, yes, we're okay, fine, cool, it's a one-off. Like they're all these executives are making comments in interviews about this is a one-off. Yeah, bull crap. This could become so big that AT&T will come down and say, I hope, maybe not, might not ever happen. Might be like, this is such a big event. This brought us 10 million subscribers. Zach, and he's doing Army of the Dead in a series on Netflix. Got a big deal. James Gunn got a big deal. DC came back to Marvel. I'm hoping that AT&T's like, hey, this is a moneymaker. People love his vision. We want you come write something. Come, give us a vision. Screw you, WB, because the AT&T, just like I said, they are the ones. This is why this happened. They gave him $70 million, maybe even more, to make this work and put it on HBO Max. This is a huge achievement. I know there's some people talking about how, well, this is not a good sign about fandom. Be putting their hands in and making things. This is why fandom's so great, that they pushed and pushed and pushed and had their voices heard to have this happen. And I'm so happy it did. Like, this is great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that was a great little speech. Well, getting into, I want to say one thing about this movie. The way I like Batman v Superman, but the ending of it got me, and the way they handled it. They threw Wonder Woman in at the end. Doomsday comes in randomly. All that.
That wasn't Doomsday. It was an extra off Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly. One of the orcs, or sorry, the trolls. But that movie, the end of it, I was like, okay, this is fine. I can take it in as itself, kind of ignore the last, half hour of the movie. But it made me uninterested in DC Universe movies. I was like, I'll go back to the animated. They do really great animated stuff. I'll go back to the comics. This Justice League movie, I have to say, by the end of the movie, I was actually kind of like excited about where they could go with this, especially the future stuff, because it was almost like they were hinting at like an Injustice kind of storyline where like Lois gets killed and Superman goes evil, and I'm like, this could be cool. And I gotta say, that last scene, Deathstroke, Aquaman's dead, and he's talking to Joker. I know we'll get into that scene more later, but like that got me kind of hyped. I was like, where is this I just didn't expect that, so I was like, if they start going in like, even if it's a different timeline or something, it got me kind of excited. I'm like, I'm actually going to, are they making any more of this universe or anything? I don't know. But it got me excited about it if they did.
Well, there were so many things in this movie that got me excited for the potential. Like when Steppenwolf mentioned the anti-life equation and how it can affect the multiverse, I was like, oh, here we go. This is exciting.
I mean, let's get into it. What great... I saw these leaks, I think a lot of people did, about the scenes with Zeus and Green Lantern. And that scene, I mean, with the Amazons, the humans, the gods, like in the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, like seeing that actually put on screen and watching Zeus throwing lightning and...
None of that battle was in the original?
No.
What the hell? All these scenes seem so important to me with this movie. Like that seemed like that was one of the best parts of all of that opening stuff. Like all the slower start. That was like one of the
first
coolest
part.
parts.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say real quick. As soon as the movie opened, I was like, okay, this is already better, because the opening of the original version is so bizarre. It's so shitty.
Because this one opened up with
Superman dying, and his yells are like,
the
globe.
yells, and everyone hears them, and
it sets it up like It opens the mother boxes. I have no. Who cares?
No. This is hilarious, and you need to look this up, Matt. The original is literally a little boy on his phone, and he's recording on his phone camera. And he has a conversation with Superman, and already in that scene you can tell the CGI that on his upper lip, like his face looks all CGI'd and all. It's terrible.
Did he do the CGI mustache thing? Was that only because of Joss stuff?
It was reshoot.
Because I watched in this movie, Snyder Cut, I paid attention when I saw Superman's face, and I never really noticed any crazy CGI. So
they didn't. They fixed that. It was because originally he was doing Mission Impossible, a far superior film to the original Justice League. But I mean, I love great Mission Impossible movie. But so that was why Paramount was like, no, you're not shaving his face. Like, what a bizarre world we live in, where a studio calls another. I wish I could have heard that phone call. Ring me. Hey, Paramount. Hey, we need to do some reshoots with Henry. Can we shave his mustache? No. Click. How did that conversation go? How do you even ask? Like,
we got to spend tens of millions of dollars to CGI his upper lip.
What a great power move by Paramount. I mean, they're coming up in the ranks. I'm happy for them. I mean, come on, 2 more Mission Impossible movies? Hell yeah, give me some more of that. But
too. Sorry.
Oh, he's
no, I was thinking of the original. I was thinking of the original Justice League, and it was getting me bored. suit with the silver trim, was that in the Justice League?
No.
Because that was cool, dude.
It was teased. We saw pictures before that movie came out. We were so excited, right, Sterling?
Dude, I thought it was dope when he's walking in the ship and the different suits are coming out and the red, white, blue one, and then you just see him looking at the wall. I'm like, what's it gonna be? And then he's got the black. Because I thought it was gonna be all gray. Because he had that vision, and then it was the black with the gray, and I was like, that's so cool. I love that.
That's one of my favorite scenes with the voiceovers of both his fathers as he's walking through through the ship.
Ooh, that was good.
And the theme, the Man of Steel theme plays in the background. Oh, so good.
I mean, come on. Yeah,
because that music, that little piano thing, that's the same music that plays in Man of Steel, right? When she's like, close your eyes, Clark. Just listen to my voice. I don't know why, but I was remembering the music, and it brought me back to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably have some, maybe you have some Matt's nitpicks, but this is one of the nitpicks that in a 4-hour movie, I was surprised that they rushed something, and it was how Superman came. Okay, we know how he comes back: the mother box, the lightning, power, splash, whatever. But it was really rushed. Him walking, them confronting him, and then the battle ensues, and then Amy Adams comes in. He looks at her, grabs her, takes her to space, has a little shindig with her up there, comes down to Kansas. Whatever happens up there, I don't know. But they go to Kansas, and then he starts to remember, and the mom shows up, and he's like, I remember everything. Like, okay, why did he not remember everything? There were so many questions I had with that whole 10-minute, 15-minute scene, couple scenes they had, setting him up, returning. Like, how does he not? If it's the real Superman, and he's back alive, why does he not know who he is?
Why would he start killing?
How does he? Why is he trying to kill everybody? He sees Batman, so he remembers Batman, but he wants to kill Batman, right?
That's true. They make it seem like he recognizes him.
Which is cool. The armor was cool. Like Batman created armor that could take on alien technology. Awesome, right? But yeah, so that question, why is he trying to kill? Like, he's not remembering everything? And then how does he remember? They just skip right over it, which is fine, whatever. But it's a 4-hour movie. Come on, man.
Well, yeah, it didn't go into detail, but what set everything off was Cyborg's automatic defense system. That's what kind of set.
Oh, I forgot. Off. You're right. He starts shooting.
Well, yeah, but. I'm just saying, why did he not remember? I mean, how does he remember?
I'll take it a step further. I think they could have gone a little more into that, but there's actually not a lot of Superman in this movie at all for a 4-hour movie.
Yeah.
There's really not. Yeah. I mean, there's the scene where he gets the suit, and they have the fight scene at his memorial or whatever, and then him at the farm talking to his mom, and then we don't see him again for another 2 hours, and then he shows up at the end. I mean, there's not a lot of Superman.
He wasn't that much. He was a lot less than the original. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's fine. I think that it's cool because I actually kind of like that he's mysterious. Maybe not. I don't mean the stuff you were talking about, Trey, but I just mean he is this powerful, badass, overpowered god. I kind of like that he was not in the movie as much, and then he kind of showed up later because it made it more impactful. I'm counteracting my own. That. I think I'm going against my own complaint. Wishy-washy. But let me ask you guys this. This is something Christy pointed out. And I was kind of talking through the scene, so I don't know what was happening. But Amy Adams, Lois Lane, opens her drawer at one point or something, and you see a pregnancy test in there.
Yeah, that was weird. I noticed that.
Pregnancy test? Why? Then she goes into the bathroom. Later,
I didn't see her take it.
I don't think so either, but there was a pregnancy test in the drawer. Was that just a little Easter egg or what? Because then the whole movie,
I think so.
I was like, what's going on? And then I was really nervous that when Superman was flying down and he recognized Lois Lane at the memorial, I was really afraid she was going to go, you can't, Clark, because I'm pregnant. And I was going to be like, what? But then, then at the end of the movie, when Clark or when Bruce buys the farmhouse back for his mom, he goes, and congratulations, by the way. And I was like,
Yeah.
is that
yeah.
a pregnancy thing? But then I remembered.
Yeah.
No, then I remembered what they were actually talking about there. He proposed to her before he
What?
died. Remember the ring and everything? They talk about it.
They
That's
talked about
what-
the engagement.
They talk about the engagement on the farm, and he goes, and it's like the ring or whatever, and that's what helps her remember a little bit. So they're not married yet. So he could have also just been complimenting him for the marriage.
I took it as the pregnancy, personally.
So I thought that initially too about the engagement, but I think I have to look at it again. But I saw someone comment on that scene, and apparently Lois is carrying like a baby, like
Really?
What?
Well,
yeah,
and-
or not a baby, but like a holder, like a carriage or something.
And
Wow.
here's one more little theory claim to back up the pregnancy thing. Now, I don't know if they were basing any of this off of it, but that Injustice comic book I was talking about where Joker kills Lois Lane, I think he actually tricked Superman into killing Lois somehow. But in that comic, the whole start of it is that Lois is pregnant. And part of why Superman's so furious is that Lois dies while carrying the child. So I think that is part of a setup that she is pregnant, and that future world where he's evil is maybe maybe Lois does die with the baby.
I hope Zack Snyder comes back because I definitely wanted to.
I love it. I love the
Of
theories.
Injustice.
I love all of this stuff talking. It gets me excited. That's what I like about this movie was it got me excited about the DC universe.
It's awesome. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Here's something I'm confused about. I mean, I don't read comics or a lot of them. We know in the Marvel, we're getting the Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Cool, right?
Mhm.
And we got Loki, the TV show, because he grabbed the thing. It's a new Loki, right? Like the new timelines happen. Okay. When they're talking about the multiverse here, and he's having a dream about with Deadshot Deadshot,
That's true.
then Mandra, whatever that Amber Heard, whatever her name is, but and then Joker, and then Joker makes it, which is a great scene. They didn't do the one they did in the trailer about society, whatever. I think that's Zack Snyder just teasing the fans. Cool. So great conversation between Batman and Joker, and Joker says, how many times are you gonna? I forgot what he said specifically. He's like, how many times are you gonna not die for how many worlds are gonna? How many universes are you gonna create because you're not gonna sacrifice yourself? And then I'm thinking, okay, if they're teasing that this is a multi, how does the multiverse work? So because watching Flash, the TV show, there's different Earths, right?
Yeah.
But so I know how that works. Is it different than how they're showing it in the movie here? Because I'm like, how is it different? Like, how does he create? So Batman can create different timelines by his decisions? Is that how the multiverse is created? I thought it was just different universes.
Yeah, I think it was vague.
I'm confused about that.
It was kind of vague enough that I don't know, because I guess you're right. He kind of paints it that way, but I think that what it's more like is that all these different infinite Earths, here's one Earth where Batman sacrificed himself. Here's one where he didn't. You know what I mean? So I think it's more the other way around, and that Joker was just fucking with Batman by saying, hey, there's probably so many timelines where you didn't do the right thing. Maybe. I don't know. It was kind of vague, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I wish they would have painted it more that way, because I was so confused. I'm like, I think I rewound it. I listened to it a couple times, Mike, what is he saying? That Batman, because he's not in each timeline that's created, he's not sacrificing. Like how I was picturing, okay, Batman kills this person, or this bad guy. Okay, now this timeline's going that way, but that Batman is still going to go his direction. Then he does this decision here, and that splits off. That Batman does this decision, it splits off. I was just really confused. I hope what you're saying, what you're saying about him just messing with them.
I think he phrased it in a way that rang true to Batman, but was also a little tricky, to make him feel bad. Which also makes me think is, save Lois. So does that mean there's going to be some event where, if I had to predict the direction this would go, I would predict that we would be if another movie came out, we'd be seeing both timelines being played out. We'd see the future and we'd see the present. And I think what would happen is it would culminate into a moment where Batman kills himself in order to save Lois, and that stops this other universe from ever happening.
Which is so funny and crazy that they're gonna try to pull. I was like, they're gonna pull off an Iron Man in this. Like what? These thieves. Like, come on. which I thought was cool because like he wasn't doing what Iron Man did.
Yeah.
Well, so at first I'm like, they're doing Iron Man, but then he doesn't do anything. Like, cool. They're making they're teasing like or we might do an Iron Man. He might sacrifice, but he's not. He's not. He's Bruce Wayne. You know, he's not gonna sacrifice himself.
So I like that scene. I do like that scene a lot. It's a little bit of a nitpick. I think the conversation went a little too long, in my opinion. But
I thought so too.
I think the reason why Zach probably put that scene in there is because now things could change, of course, but it almost kind of felt like a swan song in a way, like because like Zach, he never got to do like a Batman. You know, he didn't. It kind of felt like he wanted to do a scene with Joker and Batman.
Yeah.
And this is probably his last opportunity to do that. So that's what it kind of felt like to me. So like I didn't have as much of a problem with it.
Yeah, I wanted more Joker and Batman. That's why I didn't mind it at all. I mean, and I think a lot of what he did was basically because he in his mind today or before he was done. This was his last hurrah, like you said. And obviously things change, and we hope that things change, and he comes. You know, more movies are made like this, but like
he was putting it all out there, and I respect that a lot.
Except for Martian Manhunter, which makes me pull back thinking it's over. Like, well, if he really wanted to go out, he would have just threw Martian Manhunter in there at the end.
I think,
you know. So
I agree with you.
That's my hope.
Because I also got really excited when I saw Martian Manhunter, and then I was like, okay, well, that was a little nod, and I had a feeling that was not in the original. And then then at the end, I just mean the initial scene with him. And then at the end, I was like, I know this wasn't in the original, but
none of it was. Yeah,
I think that you were saying we could have had more. I think that it probably, if they didn't originally film Martian Manhunter stuff, that would have been really hard to try to integrate him into the last scene. Well, yeah, I think I agree with you, Trey, that I think like it does seem like there's too many open doors that he left. Like he left all these little clues like, hey, I'm not ever coming back, but if I do come back, it'll all be set up and ready for me to take over.
Well, no. Well, first of all, this is his original cut. Essentially, it's his original vision. And so, you know, before circumstances happened, he was going to do more Justice League movies after this. Yeah. So he's just presenting us what he initially was going to do. So that's probably why there's so many open doors.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I hope that I mean, he has to be touched in some way by the outpouring of the fans wanting this, and I think the feedback so far, as I can tell, is very positive, and I'm hoping that maybe this will nudge him a little bit to be like, let's do it, baby. Justice League 2.
Yeah.
Timelines of insanity, you know?
Yeah. I just think he's probably a little salty. I would imagine. Yeah. So, you know, against the studio. So we'll see what happens, but
hey, time heals, time moves on. He's going to do some projects. He has one that he's working on now for a couple, but let's get back. We didn't fully go into the battle of the Amazons, humans, gods, and Green Lantern.
Yeah, that was
so
cool.
He gets wrecked by Darkseid, which is crazy. Let's talk about that. We haven't talked about Darkseid.
He wasn't in the original version. He wasn't in it at all.
Darkseid wasn't?
No.
Okay, well,
absolutely.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you something though. This is one of the. I think for a lot of it's a positive thing that I watched this movie and didn't watch Justice League. But let me tell you where it was a negative thing. I didn't watch the original Justice League. I didn't even know what the story really was or who the main enemy was in the original. I assumed it was Darkseid because with all the Snyder talk, you're seeing these images of Darkseid. So for me, when I was watching this movie, I thought, okay, we have Steppenwolf. They're going to take him out in the first couple hours, and then Darkseid's going to come in, and this is our main enemy. This is me not knowing anything about what this movie was going to be. So at the end, I think overall it was great, but I was a little taken by surprise. I'm like, okay, Steppenwolf is killed. They stopped Darkseid from basically coming to Earth or whatever. I'm a little fuzzy on what was happening there. But I was like, I was a little surprised. I was like, oh, okay. I thought Darkseid was the main enemy. But I knew he wasn't because when there was only an hour left of the movie, I was like, Darkseid has not showed up yet. There's no way, like, whatever. So not necessarily a disappointment, but in fact, overall, I think it's actually really cool that they have him there, like especially Superman throwing Steppenwolf's head at him.
Oh,
dude, that was
cool. Yeah. Well, it was he punched him.
Oh yeah.
And then Wonder Woman cut his head off, and the whole thing goes. Yeah. Go ahead, Sterling. Yeah.
Sorry, that's one of the best villain deaths I've ever seen.
It was very cool.
He got wrecked.
But yeah, no, his head being cut off, but then like him going through the portal
Aquaman
and then coming right
first. Let's not forget.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. And
Aquaman
body.
Him.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then he got a big uppercut. Yeah.
And I just love how his body just comes right at Darkseid's foot, and like
he breaks off the other horn.
Whoa.
He breaks which was awesome. He got his first one got cut off. You're like, cool, and then they cut away from him, cut back, and it's blood gushing out. I'm like, oh my, this is great.
Now, I'm assuming there was not the gore that in the original. I'm assuming
this is rated R.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of F-bombs. I mean, Batman's like,
I didn't know.
And he's like, I'm gonna kill you. He's like, mark my fucking words, Joker. I'm gonna kill you or whatever. I was like, woo. Also, I wrote this down as a note. Wonder Woman. Remember, we were like, I can't believe she straight up tried to drown that chick in Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah. Forget that. She was straight up killing people in this movie. It just shocked me when there was she's literally throwing these people against the wall, and you can see their heads like crack open and smack the wall, and there's blood stains. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, they're just cutting people in half.
This ain't 84. This is almost 2024, baby.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
She's cracking skulls, man. She's taking names.
Dude.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I mean, there's so many things that were changed. So probably won't get to all of them, but I wanted to say that even like Steppenwolf, like he's essentially kind of the same character, but they add a couple more layers to his motivations that just kind of make it a lot more appeal, like a lot more convincing, a lot more interesting.
So much more fleshed out.
Fleshed out, and he wasn't as much of a bitch in the fight against Super. Like he was getting his ass kicked, but he wasn't going down like a bitch. You know what I mean? Like he was trying to fight.
In the original, Matt, he's like crying, like not crying, like oh no! And when Superman's beating him up, right? Am I right? Do I remember that correctly?
So I got a question about it. In this movie that we watch, the Snyder cut, Darkseid is essentially trying to reclaim his prize and get back to Earth or whatever, which stopped him. And Steppenwolf is clearly like a pawn in the game of like he's like this. He's trying to do this goal for Darkseid. And so my question is, in the original, if Darkseid isn't in it, what is Steppenwolf's goal? Like, what's he trying to do? Is he just trying to unite those things for himself?
Yeah.
Or what?
So it's so weird. In the original cut, instead of Darkseid being kind of the looming figure, he talks to the mother boxes. Like, he says, "Mother, please forget." Like, he says these like weird things about the mother boxes themselves as opposed to Darkseid. So it was so weird, like that particular change.
Does sound
I don't know
weird.
why they did that. Go ahead.
I liked the looming Darkseid thing, was very cool. And when they do really show him, he looked good, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, he could have been better. Obviously,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like with Thanos teasing him in Avengers,
Yeah.
Guardians, and him evolving and
Yeah.
technology evolving. But for a first time Vision, first time throwing him on screen, what I can't if there is more Dark Side, it'll obviously get better. They'll make him look,
Yeah.
and he looked to me. Look, he wasn't perfect. He wasn't great, and even Thanos wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But this was really good.
It was
like I was.
His voice
So
is pretty
voice
cool.
was good. Oh yeah, his voice was good, and so two things. So Apocalypse, I love that villain. Horrendous. Like it wasn't as horrendous as the photo shoots we saw before the movie came out, but still horrible because he's supposed to be a looming character. They made the Dark Side looming, like huge, like beastly, perfect, and they teased his powers when he stabs Aquaman in the Vision, and then he does the laser eyes when he's facing the other way, and it shoots out and kills the person behind him.
Yeah.
Like I was so we didn't get enough of them, but we got enough to it was worth the wait. It was worth the 3-4 years waiting. But that battle, which another thing you guys maybe will like, oh yeah, him getting stabbed by Ares or whatever. Okay, the Zeus hitting him, like he stops with his staff, the lightning, and then Ares coming. I love how DC versus Marvel, he gets stabbed in the same side, the shoulder, just like Thanos and Thor. Ares should have aimed for the head.
I thought that too, actually. Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, which is great. And then the blood gushing out, like you're like, but at the same time, like, is Ares like? I guess he's a god, like Thor's a god, and maybe his weapon's like as powerful as that weapon. So we didn't need to know that, but I was like, they show he got his ass whipped in that scene. So I was kind of disappointed in that regard to see the first battle, his first fight. He's getting wrecked by some gods, and I guess he destroyed a Green Lantern. Yeah, he killed him. Awesome, but yeah, and then they like the parademons come in and his blood's gushing and he passes out. So saying it again, I was kind of disappointed they showed him at like a weak point, but it's the past. It was thousands of years ago. Now he's badass again, and like you said, pushing into what you were saying about the anti-life matter. So he finds it, right? Earth, this is another maybe a nitpick. So he finds it. They have the big battle. He runs away because he gets almost killed. How did he forget where it was? How did he not know Earth? Like, because Stephen was like, "I found the anti-life equation," and then and then because he's talking to the thing that transports it shows that projects him, and then Steppenwolf comes in, and I'm like, how did he forget? How did he not know where it was? So that's a nitpick. I'm like, he would know. He would know that Earth is where he got his ass kicked and almost died for trying to get the anti-life whatever.
It definitely wasn't clear, but I think, I don't know. You have to kind of interpret yourself. I think the fact that Omega symbol was still there, maybe that was the answer. Like, the fact that it was still there after thousands of years, maybe that was the answer to why the anti-life equation was there. I don't know. That's just me.
No. That's exactly why it was there. I'm saying, why was Darkseid, like, why did Stephen, like, I found it. This is my key back into the group chat. I'm gonna get back in. I gotta update my service. You even know when it's on Earth.
I can get on the Discord. I can get on the Discord. Yeah.
Here's
what?
Well, here's my
That makes
question
sense
that I
to
think
me.
you guys can answer. I don't know a lot about the mother boxes and Darkseid and all of that stuff. I had no idea what the anti-life. I don't know what Steppenwolf was doing, and I don't know why it was useful to Darkseid, and I don't know what Darkseid was doing and what his motivation was. Yeah, he basically just said, "I want to rule everything." And that was the only time he ever mentioned what he wanted to do. I want to rule everything. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
same old bad guy.
accurate.
Yeah, it's just the same old bad guy. And, it was fine.
Yeah.
But what I still don't get the mother boxes. What is the anti-life equation? What does that mean?
I don't know.
I think I'd have to research more into it, but I think it's essentially he'd have access to make every single being across all the multiverses a parademon, which are his servants.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Which they explained how once he took over a world, they don't have free will and they turn into a parademon.
Okay.
So I was glad they explained that.
So
you're right.
that brings me to another difference from the original cut is them being at the nuclear facility was so much different in the 2017 version. So it wasn't even a nuclear facility. It was like an abandoned town in Russia. And in the original cut, they kept on focusing on this family throughout the movie to get you some sort of attachment or whatever, which is so stupid. It was so cheesy in the original cut. And this one is so much better because it's abandoned, and I like how Steppenwolf explained that it's a toxic place. So it's a place
Chernobyl,
that
baby.
the parademons they can thrive in that environment. So I thought that was a very, very good difference for sure.
Here's
Here's a nitpick, man. I'm just going throwing nitpicks at you, Matt.
Go.
You know how the guy did a drawing of the parademon. You know,
look just like Batman.
They got yes. I'm like, okay, cool. So they think they saw Batman. Are they saying Batman came in there afterwards? And they're like, it looked like it was a sketch of what you think Batman was. Parademon, not even close.
Yeah, at first I literally thought that whoever they thought, I actually was confused. I was like, I thought that it was that someone saw Batman. And then when they kind of explained, that, oh, it's the parademons that's distracting, I'm like, I'm kind of looking at the parademon, I'm looking at the Batman sketch, I'm like, it actually looks, isn't there a similar sketch like that in the Batman v Superman movie or something where when they first are showed, like some movie where but the parademons look like bugs. And the thing that they drew, that is a good nitpick because I noticed that too. I thought that was a little weird. They could have made it look a little more like a mixture of the two, but instead it just looked like Batman.
This is what I thought. The cops it's Batman. They show it and they don't say anything. I'm like, it looks just like someone would, a kid would draw Batman.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So dumb. Oh my gosh.
We got to talk about the whole final sequence. We talked a little about Steppenwolf getting killed, but there's two moments in the movie. So like I said, I started watching it at about the 2-hour mark the second time. That's when basically around then is when I have a nitpick, by the way. So when Gordon meets Batman and Wonder Woman and Flash on the roof, J.K. Simmons is meeting him on the roof and he's talking to them. That's about when I picked up again after watching the first half. My nitpick is a stupid nitpick, but I think it's worth noting. They do the gag, which was popularized in the Nolan films, where they all disappear and J.K. Simmons there, and then they have the Flash there, and he's like, "Oh, wow, they really do disappear." Fine, except for two things. If it was just Batman, that makes sense that he disappears when he's looking away. He can be stealthy and quiet.
It's Wonder Woman
and Cyborg and Batman. And secondly, here's what they should have had Flash say. They should have had Flash go, sorry, they just left. That was impolite. But instead he goes, whoa, they just vanished. You're the Flash. You didn't see him leave? You're standing next to him. I didn't get that. I was like, they vanished even for you? But I know it's a nitpick because it was just a joke. It doesn't hinge on anything. But it was a little weird. It was like the Flash doesn't see him.
It was dumb.
By the way, cool moment. One of my favorite moments was when Flash is getting his turn at Superman and he starts running at Superman and Superman just turns and looks at him.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And then that sequence where Superman's punching him and he's kind of dodging it and shit, that looked really cool.
Because he's fast. Because he's faster.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, he's just a little bit faster.
Just a little.
And then the Flash runs into Aquaman.
Oh yeah.
Superman dodges.
And he gets up. Later he just points at him. He doesn't even say anything.
He's points.
So I was going to talk about the main first battle we really saw was in the tunnel. where they're fighting Steppenwolf and stuff there. It's when Aquaman first shows up, which by the way, I completely forgot about Aquaman by the time that happened. I even said it to Christy when it's like, where are we? We're under the harbor. And then Aquaman's in there. I just realized how many nitpicks I have because of how far he's going. When he blocks the water, they spend just as much time staring at Aquaman blocking the water than he actually blocks it. And I was like, you should be leaving, but they're all just sitting there staring at him, and he's sitting there clearly straining, like, get out of here. And they're just like, let's just watch him for 10 seconds. I was like, what the heck?
That was dumb.
That's a classic movie thing, though, so I can forgive it to an extent.
Well, personally, I thought that he was going to make the water go that way or something. I thought something.
Yeah, I don't know what his powers are exactly.
He's not Aquaman yet. Like I said, Aquaman
trident. He
doesn't have the original trident. Yeah, so he'll be more powerful next time. But yeah, so it was good.
It was cool that like Flash. By the way, I like the lightning stuff with Flash, but I do see what you said with the movement. There were times where it just felt like the guy was just going, and they just edited effects over it, and it did seem a little off sometimes. But I like the way the lightning effects looked. I thought they were cool, and when he just pushes the guy and the guy just like flies into the wall, that was cool. Although Wonder Woman is just kicking ass in that scene, and then Batman, it takes Batman like 10 minutes and he just kills one guy. He's like, and he's fighting him, and then he finally like kicks the guy off the edge or whatever.
But Batman does redeem himself a little bit in the last battle. I thought he was so awesome.
He was really cool. Yeah.
He was taking the turrets like Master Chief.
Yeah, he just takes their guns. He basically was Master Chief in those scenes. He was just shooting them with their own gun out of the sky. So that first battle sequence. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, to me, that the movie really got started around then. The rest of it, like I said, it was necessary, but this was when I was into the movie. I started getting really into the movie was around that battle. And to me, the rest of the movie continued to like flow pretty well.
Yeah. Well, going back to Steppenwolf and how he's more fleshed out, I love how, like, I'm not sure if he sniffs the air. I just picture him like an Amazonian, but you can see what she's dressed like, right? Yeah. And I love how they like he's like, you're gonna die, like you're not like the others. Like he knows that she's stronger than them, and like he has a work cut out for him. And he's like staring at his staff over there. And rewind real quick to where she saves the day with the kids. They show how fast she is. She is really fast. And Amanda was sitting there for a little bit. It was like, why is she faster than that? I'm like, she is fast. They did show some of that in the other movies, just not as much as this.
Yeah.
Because she is
when she
fast.
blocks the bullets, I have to say, and we talked about this in 1984, I don't know why, but Wonder Woman particularly is just cheesy to me most of the time. That opening scene where she's saving the people, they keep doing the 300 style slow-mos and stuff, and like it just I was trying to, me and Christy were trying to figure this out, why certain things look sort of cheesy in Justice League, like in the DC universe, but they don't look cheesy in Marvel. What I think it is that in Marvel, generally the tone is very colorful and comic booky generally, so you are way likely to believe and see what you're doing. The world of the DC universe is dark, so it feels like the human world, but you have people doing things that feel comic booky in them. I was on board by the end. I think what it was it took me a second to readjust and remember what I'm watching. But by the end of the movie, I didn't think about it at all. At the beginning of the movie, I really was like, this is kind of cheesy in certain spots.
Hey, but by the way, like compared to 2017, that whole heist, that whole scene with Wonder Woman at the beginning is so much more hardcore in this version.
It's really, it was pretty badass. It was.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, going back. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
So they show her how like actually fast she is. She is, not as fast as Superman, not as fast as Flash, but up there with them. She has more powers than they lead on, and like they showed more of her powers in '84, like she's fly and stuff like that. But no, so go back. So Steppenwolf knows she's stronger. She's a god. Somehow he senses it, and she holds her own to someone that's like 15 feet tall, and he's like she's God, like it's
She's badass,
awesome. That
yeah.
I thought that scene was awesome. Yeah, like
That fight was very
yeah,
cool.
so.
With Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? Can she not? Why can't she fly in Justice League and Batman v Superman?
No. She does fly in one of the scenes near the end.
Okay.
Oh, she does.
So.
At
I
the
Uh,
might have
end?
missed it. But
Remember, there's it does like the typical freeze frame of all the heroes in one shot, and she's actually like flying.
Yeah, that was a cool. I remember the shot a little bit. I guess I didn't think about it at the moment. Yeah. Well, what got me thinking was during the heist when she throws the bomb up in the air. It looks like she jumped really high and then threw it and then fell, and I was like, why wouldn't she fly up? So that's why I thought, oh, does she not fly? What
Well, so they didn't show her flying in 2017's Justice League, and that's why I was so excited about 84. That like they're showing that she's evolving and then she can actually fly. She doesn't need her lasso.
Yeah.
And because in the cartoons, Justice League Unlimited, that she flies. She just does the Superman fly like. So I was kind of excited that they gave her more of her powers or evolution in 84. One of the very few positives in the movie. Let's just be frank. But so they showed her being badass in this film, and I think she's one of the better characters, honestly.
Yeah.
She is definitely.
She is. Yeah, I wanted to just jump a little bit because whenever the Flash was like running around the whole facility, which I thought was pretty cool. Whatever parademon shot him needs to get a raise from Darkseid. Like he needs to be his
promoted. Yeah,
he needs to replace Steppenwolf now. So
ridiculous. He's like, ooh, I got him now, and he's like perfect shot. Like what?
But here's the thing. Like I actually thought that was a pretty good acting moment from Ezra.
The parademon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, when he got shot and like they were asking him, "Are you okay, Flash?" And then he like in intercom, he's like out of breath. You know what I mean? Like he's like,
he got his wind knocked out.
Yeah, he got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good moment.
Yeah, it was
some good acting there.
Also, it really was intense, and the fact that he doesn't get, you're like, he's like, come on, Victor, and then it's like just a little more time, I thought what was just gonna happen was like last minute he got it. I can't hold it anymore. I have one more second, but instead he doesn't get it, and everyone fucking dies. And I was like, that was awesome because I didn't expect it. And him going back in slow motion with the ground, just like that whole scene and the music, that was to me the standout scene of the movie. That was very cool to me. And then you realize Superman really did get obliterated because you can see his skin coming back on.
Which is so dumb.
What do you mean dumb?
Because they show Wonder Woman just perfectly having a funeral, like in perfect health, like, and Superman's indestructible and he gets obliterated and she doesn't. Do you guys not remember that? With the flashback?
The funeral is the future where Lois isn't saved, I thought. Where Aquaman gets
No. You're confusing two different moments. You're thinking about Trey's when they're trying to revive Superman, and as Cyborg is interacting with the Mother Box gives him that vision of the future.
I remember. I'll have to rewatch because I remember that Flash or whatever of the future there was two of them. I thought the one at the end showed that because everybody died, and I thought it was during that scene. And I think it's dumb anyway. Even without that, I think it's dumb that he gets obliterated. I think it's dumb.
Well, but the anti-life equation, I think, obliterates Superman. So that's what the Mother.
Oh, are they saying that's what happened? Was that it does the anti-life thing?
It does, and so it just turns everyone to nothing basically.
Whatever. It's I was so excited that there was like 30 minutes left, and I'm like, ooh, they all stand there with Darkseid with when they cut his head off, Steppenwolf's head off, and he puts his head on. He catches Steppenwolf's head with his foot. I'm like, here we go, the big battle, baby! And it closes. I was like, so I was disappointed that there wasn't a Darkseid coming in there taking them all on.
Yeah,
I was kind of mad about that.
I mean, you can't blow your load in one movie, so.
Well, we're never going to get it.
He could have because, this is it. I hope not, but
I'm praying.
Yeah.
I'm praying.
Pray to the gods, man. Woo!
Well, cool.
Well,
Well, there's a lot to talk about. I mean,
there's so
but we
much to
haven't
talk
even-
about, but
It's a big movie.
it's
yeah.
such a big movie. We are going a little long anyway. I think we could always do a part 2 if we want to revisit. But I mean, I'm just saying we could anything really itching at anyone you want to talk about before we get into it.
I think I got my nitpicks out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, I can start the end if you want.
ahead.
The thing about this movie, it's a 4-hour movie that kept me interested the whole time. I never got bored really. The beginning was slow, but that's different to me than doesn't mean it's bad, but it was slow. And by the end of it, I felt like that first part was probably worth it. I might even appreciate the first part more if I watch it again. The characters are kind of hit and miss. But they're all, even just whatever the characters, whether the personalities are great or not, or they're annoying or whatever, the characters to me are cool. They're all cool. Their powers are all pretty cool. And we get to see some classic Justice League cool moments. I mean, I really got more than I ever thought from the movie. I think maybe my expectations were low. That might be part of it. But Superman fighting the rest of the Justice League on the hill was really cool. That whole final sequence was great. Some of the moments, the cinematography in Snyder movies is always really good and really interesting. And his use of music and tone and all of that to like make these really memorable snapshots are really cool. And to me, the best thing about this movie, I would say, is that it got me interested again in the DC universe. Like, it made me go, man, I would like to see another Snyder movie, And maybe I won't, but I'm glad I probably would have never watched Justice League or, would have thought about it or kind of just forgot about it. And I'm glad the Snyder Cut came out because I was able to appreciate a live action Justice League movie, which we've never had before. And this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Overall I enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that that Snyder maybe one day does some more with it because there's a lot there. So
Nice.
Yeah. You want to go last, Sterling? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go last.
So yes, I personally had a lot of nitpicks. I found out I had a few more than I thought I had earlier talking about the movie. But man, the movies are not popular to be 3+ hours long anymore, and they really weren't before. But looking back at the Lord of the Rings movies, all 6 of them being the extended versions being 3.5. But I really appreciated this film. I mean, for, like you said, getting Snyder's vision, getting his movie he wanted to make the way he wanted to make it. And you know what? If he would have been able to finish it before, we wouldn't have gotten this, because it wouldn't have been. It would have been 2 parts, maybe, if they would have let him, maybe not. But for this version, I'm so happy we got. I'm so happy the fans didn't quit. They fought. They voiced what they wanted, just like, not the same thing, but with Sonic getting the look right, but as a whole story, I mean, this was, maybe I'll watch it again, maybe I'll find more nitpicks, maybe I'll watch it and think it's a pure masterpiece, because it was pretty close to it, because man, it was so good. Like, I thought a lot of the story beats, a lot of the stuff they established, like you said, the beginning was kind of slower. I just appreciated that because, so we had 4 hours. He had 4 hours on a streaming service to lay out everything he wanted, and I appreciated a director's, I keep on saying, a vision. And I really think this was a great film. And yes, there's some cliffhangers. And we're hopeful. I know Sterling, I know you, Matt, and a lot of fans are hopeful we'll get these teasers, these cliffhangers, that vision in the future. Maybe not, but I'm glad we got this. And And one thing we didn't talk about, but it wasn't that big of a thing, but when all the credits rolled, it was for Autumn, his daughter,
Yeah.
and I thought that was really, really touching, and I'm glad, like I said, because his wife, the producer, him, obviously director, writer, one of the writers, being able to finish this and get some closure, because there's a lot of emotion in making a film, but then you have your personal life, affect everything, have someone that's that close to you pass away, and for them both to be able to finish what they were doing while that person passed away and they could finish it's really cool that this happened. I'm really happy it came to fruition.
Yeah, I almost lost it at the For Autumn, because I mean, as a parent you should never lose a child, and I think that was really cool, and I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it is definitely an achievement in its own right. I understand that it is a daunting task to watch the movie in one sitting, but I really did appreciate that they separated the movie into parts so that you can always come back in a kind of a natural break in the movie, if you want to take a break from it. And so in a way, it is kind of like a mini series in that way. And so, yeah, I think there's definitely some slower parts, but to me, the slower parts really complement the especially the last act, just the high octane action of the whole thing. And I think the ending, I mean, compared to the original, it's, oh my God, the ending is so much better and so much more satisfying. And yeah, I think cinematography I mean, Snyder's known for good cinematography, but there's a lot of sequences that really shine. And I think for the most part, all the characters are improved vastly from Joss Whedon's version. I think, yeah, I really think I'm hoping there can be some future projects with Snyder. We'll see if the response is overwhelming to the point where he wants to come back. Yeah, I got emotional at times in this movie, and really got chills during some of the sequences, and I really didn't get that in the original cut. So definitely a positive experience overall. The highs far outweigh the little nitpicks and negatives for me. And if you're a fan of DC, definitely watch this. Even if you're kind of a casual movie viewer, I actually think this could be a pretty engaging movie for a lot of people. And yeah, I can't say too much more about it than that.
Well, there you have it,
Very
folks.
cool. Yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed this ride, man, like and subscribe, comment below. Where was Matt wrong? Especially Sterling. Where was he wrong? I know I was wrong too, but that's all opinions.
We're all wrong.
We're all wrong. Yeah. So like, subscribe, comment, because we like to interact.
Love the interaction.
What do you need to do, Sterling? You were pointing at me.
I was gonna say, and who is Nostalgia is Real gonna roast next in this review?
Yeah, it's a coin flip, because I had some big negatives, and we all had some nitpicks. So yeah, let's interact, and like I said, subscribe. We love doing this. It's a different type of movie every week, and it's every week we like doing this. So join the ride, people. This is great. See you next time on the Film Schmuck.
With your best friends Trey, Sterling, and Matt, the Film Schmucks.